Hello again, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It's all about racing. Today we're going to take a look at a 911 Porsche RSR made by IXO, this being a die-cast model in the 1/18 scale. You'll see that I have the 1/43 scale car beside it, and if you've seen my other videos, I have given a previous review of this particular car. This is the 93. It's basically the same car, just with the 93 number on it, because this was the version that competed in the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2018. But I gave it a kind of scathing review because of the paint chips that you found, like on the fender well, the crappy details of the drivers, which were absolutely terrible, and they really butchered them. And again, the poor application of the wavy decal here or there. I mean, they abound all over this car. The 1/18 car, I can tell you, has none of those flaws, and it's probably a very good thing because this car is so big that if it did have a lot of those flaws, they would be readily apparent. And I know a lot of reviewers have reviewed IXO compared to Spark, and I'll tell you, the one thing that they will all tell you is that the IXO, from a distance, looks just as good as a Spark. But when you get up close and look at it, which we're going to do, the lack of attention to detail is more apparent, but it's not critically bad. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at this. We'll go ahead and get the 1/43 scale car out of the way. At first glance, when you look at this, it does look beautiful. And I've got to be honest with you, even when you zoom in on it, as we're going to do, it still looks absolutely great. You take a, as I say, always take a look at the wheels first. And if you take a close look at them, I mean, you've got those really nice, gorgeous rubber Michelin tires on there. Look at the black spoked wheel, very, very clean. The center lug nut looks gorgeous. The slotted brake rotor, the brake calipers you can see on there. Bear in mind, this being a IMSA Weather Tech Series livery. It has the red number banner, and that designates that this is one of the pro entries. This is essentially a factory Porsche team that raced in both the IMSA Weather Tech Series and overseas at Le Mans. Consequently, it's had red mirrors. Where this is a prime entry, it would be green. It has the red border on the windshield banner. Again, that's a mandated IMSA thing to designate this as a pro car, as well as the red end caps on the rear wing. So anyhow, we get that out of the way. You look at it, this being a Spark 1/18 model, this is a die cast. It is not resin, so it is somewhat heavy. It does roll, which I find extremely annoying. It's too big to roll around, and if I moved it around, as I'm going to try to do, it's going to roll a little bit, which again I say is annoying, but nevertheless, it just does that. We'll turn this a bit to the side so you can kind of take a look into the interior cockpit decals, and again, you see it rolling in there. You can very clearly see the seats. Whoops. Let's pull out a little bit, and you can see the steering wheel in there. You can see the wheel with the little buttons. Very, very nice job on the interior. It does lack a net. You have the number counter there on the B pillar. And you can clearly, because this is a 1/18 scale, you can clearly read even from this the names of the drivers, that being Nick Tandy, Patrick Pillay, and Fred Makwicki, all Porsche factory drivers except Nick Tandy, who defected for a couple of years and raced for Corvette. But as you know, he's back racing one of the Porsche hypercars now. But anyhow, that's a nice look at the interior of the car from the driver's side. And we'll pull back a little bit, and you can see, another nice thing that they've done are the body panel clips are huge, indented, and they're very, very nicely done, as you can see right there. They did a really, really good job with this Porsche design. Hertz, GTLM. And I absolutely love the white with the red, the silver, and the black borders that you have on this car. And now let's turn it around again. We'll take a look at the front of the car. And I just love the black nose on this car, and I love the black. I like black, period. I mean, if this car were all black, I'd be frothing all over it. I love it as it is, but really, really cool. You see the dive planes on the side there. Nicely done grill work on it. I mean, really nicely done. It looks like, and I do believe that is a mesh insert there. It's not painted. Very, very cool. A nice detail you get from Spark at this scale. You can see the tow hook there. Again, the hatches are very cleanly and clearly done. Nice job with the headlights. And you take a look at the interior from here, you can see the dashboard, and you see that black tube that blows air into the driver. Again, nicely done. Good work on the banner detail. It does lack details like the tear sheet, which if this were a Spark, you would see on it. Man, I hate pulling this around like this, but here we go. Boom, 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 boom. We'll pull out again a little bit. You can see it from the passenger side. One thing you will note if you look into the cabin from here, you can see a lot of the architecture of the structure of the tubing for the frame in there. You can see the net on the passenger side of the car. Again, a nice touch from Spark. They did a beautiful job with the aerials on this car. You have 3 of them, plus you've got the wind speed and airspeed area, and that thing that looks like an awkward inverted L on it. The engineers utilize that to analyze wind and airspeed. Clever thing. They borrowed that from the aerospace industry, and there's a really good look at the cabin there as well. And another nice look at the passenger side. Now we'll turn this around a little bit and take a look at the rear of this car. And this is where the car really stands out. Take a look at the engine cabin, or the engine bay first, and you see that it's, with all these Porsches, they're covered. With the RSR cars, them being mid-engine, the engine's mounted closer to the cockpit. In fact, it's right behind it. Consequently, you can't see it. There are louvers that are on top of that allow heat to escape from it. And here you can clearly see that nice big gorge Porsche wing that they have on here. Now, were this the 912 car as opposed to 911, this wing would be black and not white. Also, the windshield banner would be black and not white. And if I pull back, one thing you're going to see on the edge of this rear wing is a really nice carbon fiber detail. And folks, you don't normally see that on an IXO car. In fact, you generally don't at all. It's really nice they did it here. I just wish they had replicated it on the rear diffuser. They did not, unfortunately, but I think it's an absolutely beautiful touch. And the rear of the car just looks gorgeous. The paint finish is perfect. Notice that if you saw my 143 review, I really blasted them for the lousy tail lights that almost looked like they had been placed in there when they were broken, as opposed to, it was just an awful job. Not the case here. See the Porsche logo on the bottom of the rear wing there. Tail lights are absolutely perfect. GTLM, Porsche design. The exhaust just jumps and screams at you from there. And of course, you have the tow hook and the rear diffuser. I mean, a really, really nice job by the folks at IXO. And we'll just move this around a little bit and give you that view of it from the top. And there you have it, folks. That is the Porsche 911 RSR from the folks at IXO. Hope you've enjoyed this. And by the way, I remember I purchased this at a racetrack, and I think they were asking $120 for it. I offered the guy $100 cash. He took it, so I took it home for $100. So yes, you can get 118 scale cars for about $100. You'd never find a Spark available for that price, but you can get it if it's an IXO. The only problem is these things are just too big. I only have 2 of them in the entire my collection. This is one of them. The rest are all 143 and 164 scale. If I could collect nothing but 118s, I would. I just don't have room for them. Hope you've enjoyed the review. Thanks.